How is it going, everybody? You're watching the Nobel Tech, so it's finally here. The iPhone 14 event is next week, on September 7, next Wednesday, and we couldn't be more excited. So, in this video, I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know and everything you should expect from Apple on their most important event of the year. So, of course, we're gonna talk about the iPhone 14 lineup, the Apple Watch Series 8 and Apple Watch Pro, that's right, we're going to talk about that, and even the software updates. Let's talk about the release dates of iOS 16, iPadOS 16, and more. And even, and this is very exciting, AirPods Pro 2 and the AR VR headset from Apple. So a ton to talk about here, so let's go ahead and begin. So let's start talking about the most important, the iPhones. Let's talk about the iPhone 14 lineup. And just like the iPhone 12 lineup and 13 lineup, we're also getting 4 iPhone models with the iPhone 14 lineup. But there's one huge, very important difference. Let me explain. So we're also getting 2 entry-level models and 2 high-end models. But instead of having the normal iPhone like the iPhone 14 or 13 or 12, the normal, and a mini version of that, we're not getting mini anymore. The iPhone 14 lineup will not have a mini version. So instead of having the iPhone 14 and the iPhone 14 mini, we're getting the iPhone 14 and the iPhone 14 Plus. We're not 100% sure on the name yet, but we'll get a larger version of the entry-level iPhone. So instead of having iPhone 14 in a smaller version, we're having the iPhone 14, the entry level, and also a larger version of that. So we're gonna have the regular iPhone 14 and the iPhone 14 Plus, should be called Plus, which will have a larger screen and also a larger battery. So 2 entry-level iPhones, just like we're used to having, but one regular, one larger. And on the high-end side, we're still getting the Pro and the Pro Max just like we're used to. So then we're gonna have the iPhone 14, 14 Plus, 14 Pro, and 14 Pro Max. And as you saw from the images, we're just getting 2 different sizes. So the iPhone 14 will be the exact same size as the iPhone 14 Pro, and the iPhone 14 Plus will have the exact same size of the iPhone 14 Pro Max. So just 2 sizes, and it makes the lineup very simple, very easy, and it makes much more sense, pretty much because the mini was never really a huge success. Now, let's talk about the difference between the normal iPhone 14 and 14 Plus and the high-end 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max, because there are some differences. So let's talk about that. First, we have to talk about the notch. As you can see from the images, yes, the notch is different on the iPhone 14 Pro, and only on the 14 Pro we'll get the pill plus the hole punch design just on the 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max, okay? Just those will get the new notch. On top of that, we're also getting the new chip, the A16, just on the Pro models. The Pro models will also get an upgrade in the camera. So the main camera will go to 48 megapixels finally, and the ultra wide will get a larger sensor, therefore a better performance in low light scenarios. The iPhone 12 and 13 were pretty bad when taking photos with the ultra wide in low light situations. If you test it out, you saw it's so bad. And front-facing camera as well, it's getting much better. We're getting a new sensor which will also allow more light, more quality, and even autofocus. So great upgrade in the cameras as well. On top of that, the Pro models will get the expected and famous always-on display, just like we get on the Apple Watch. So this is a very anticipated feature, and it's coming to the Pro models only. And last but not least, pricing, which unfortunately will go up. So expect those Pro models to be 100 more expensive than the previous generation. So expect the iPhone 14 Pro to cost around $1,100 and the 14 Pro Max $1,200. Now let's talk about the regular iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Plus, so the entry-level models. And unfortunately, don't expect too much difference when comparing to the iPhone 13. They should be very similar design-wise. They should be identical because you're not getting the new notch, just like I showed you on the 14 Pro. The regular iPhone 14 and 14 Plus will get the exact same notch as the iPhone 13, and you're not even getting the new chip. So the iPhone 14 and 14 Plus will use the old A15 that's powering my iPhone 13 right here. So new chip just for the Pro model. So you're not getting too much on the iPhone 14 and 14 Plus, but there are some new things that Apple will implement to the whole iPhone 14 series, and the regular 14s will get as well. Like for example, stronger magnets for MagSafe. So MagSafe right here will supposedly get an upgrade and get stronger magnets, which is so important, especially if you use the wallet. It comes off so easily out of the MagSafe right here. If you use the MagSafe wallet, you know what I'm talking about. So we should get better upgraded magnets on MagSafe, and that's for every model, all right, for the 4 models. On top of that, we should get better battery life. We always get that. And on top of that, fast charging. And this is so cool because now fast charging on the iPhone, and I'm talking about wired fast charging, so with a cable, will go up to 20 watts only on the iPhone, just 20 watts. You can't charge your iPhone faster than that. And now the whole iPhone 14 lineup should support 27 watts or 30 watts, so maybe like 50% faster. So that's pretty important. That's a pretty big deal. Now let's talk about AirPods Pro 2. This is not confirmed, this is not 100% yet, but if you think about, AirPods Pro were released in 2019. So it's already 3 years almost since the release of the AirPods Pro. So AirPods Pro 2 should be right around the corner, and they may be released in this event next week. So what we know so far is that design should be pretty much the same. So no big differences in design, but we should get a new chip. So a new version of the Age 1 chip, which is very good for many things, including sound quality, connectivity, and all of that. Also, we should have support to Bluetooth 5.2, and maybe the most important, lossless audio. So we could get lossless audio via Bluetooth. So wireless lossless audio, which should be amazing. It should make the AirPods Pro 2 the best sounding earbuds by far in the industry. So this may be very huge, and even maybe that's too much, but USB-C. So instead of Lightning, USB-C, it's time, Apple. So we could see that. So fingers crossed for AirPods Pro 2. Now let's talk about Apple Watch, and unfortunately it won't change much. We were expecting that Apple Watch Series 8 would be a redesign, a completely new design, the first real redesign ever since the Apple Watch was released, actually, because ever since the Apple Watch Series 0 and Series 1 all the way to now, it's pretty much the same design. So we were expecting that Apple Watch Series 8 would be a redesign with flat sides, and it could be a new fresh look, but unfortunately it won't be. Series 8 will be very similar to Series 7, so we'll get the same sizes, the same screen sizes, round bezels, and even like the round outer shell of the Apple Watch as well. So it'll be very similar to Series 7. Same thing with the Apple SE. We should get the Apple SE 2, which is an evolution of the SE, the entry-level Apple Watch, and the design again should be very similar. Of course, we'll have something new, some new features, maybe something inside, maybe something with watchOS 9, but nothing really huge, nothing that we can see just by taking a look at the watch. They will be pretty much identical. Again, the only difference will be the new colors. But there's something called the Apple Watch Pro. So this time we should see 3 different models. So Apple will release, instead of 2 models, 3. So the Apple Watch Series 8, the Apple Watch SE 2, and the Apple Watch Pro. And the Apple Watch Pro should be different. It may be kind of that Apple Watch that we were expecting the Apple Watch 8 to be. It may be the Apple Watch Pro because it should have a different size. So it should be larger. The screen should be larger than the Series 8. So we should get a larger Apple Watch, the largest Apple Watch ever, actually. The case should be made of titanium, and the design may be a bit different. It may be, at least the screen, the display may be a little bit flatter than the Apple Watch Series 8. But the problem is, it will be a high-end Apple Watch, a really high-end Apple Watch, and it could start at $1,000. So $1,000 for an Apple Watch, whew, I don't know. That's a little bit crazy to me. Now let's talk about software updates. Let's talk about iOS and watchOS, and then iPadOS and macOS, because there's a difference here. So let's start talking about iOS 16 and watchOS 9. So iOS 16 and watchOS 9 will be available to the public just a few days after the event. So maybe they won't even mention iOS 16 and watchOS 9 on the event itself. Maybe they won't even talk about it, but it will be available to the public on the final official version, final stable version for everyone just a few days after the event. So maybe on the 10th or 11th, something like that, everyone should be able to update to iOS 16 and watchOS 9. But iPadOS 16 and macOS Ventura are a different story because they are delayed and they'll only be released a month after. So they'll only be released in October minimum. And last but not least, let's talk about the AR VR headset, which in my opinion is very, very clear that Apple will not unveil on next week's event. They'll have a specific event for that only next year. Don't expect it right now. It's too much of a big deal for they to throw it in the middle of the iPhone event. There is a ton of stuff already happening. They'll not create a new category of product just like that on the iPhone event. They'll create a new thing, so don't expect right now. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. It was a ton of information, but it was a ton of fun. See you later, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.